Okay, so good day. This is the video lecture for the topic on cognitive styles. Okay, so if you recall, our last topic before you've had your midterm exam is on attention and concentration. Okay, and this topic on cognitive styles appear to be in connection to attention and concentration because definitely we will be talking about cognitive processes in general. Okay. Now, as for cognitive styles, no, I don't know if you have thought about it, but you see, as a teacher, as a future teacher, no, um, do you consider it vital or necessary to determine or perhaps at least have a gauge on the cognitive styles of your learners? No? Sa tingin ninyo, mahalaga ba bilang isang guro na maintindihan natin kung anong estilo pagdating sa ah, cognitive processes ng ating mga learners, no? Like, say, for example, when it comes to their learning style, when it comes to how they perceive or interpret information, when it comes to goal setting, no? Decision making, because these are interrelated concepts to that of cognitive styles. No? If there's one thing that is common among them, it would be the thought that those are all cognitive processes. Okay? Now, um, in coaching, um, we try to put the context in coaching kasi definitely sports psychology ito, ano. So ano sa tingin niyo, what is the place of cognitive styles, no, in coaching? Okay, I wanted you to look into coaching and teaching as similar processes, no? Because when you teach, you wanted to inculcate something to your learners. And the same is true when you coach. No? When you coach, you don't only give them knowledge, the technical know-hows of how to most probably execute a particular um, um, spike or a particular skill rather, no, in general, no, which could be important, no, for them to um, do well in that particular sports and perform well. Okay. So it says here that in essence, a coach is also a teacher. So coaching is enlikened to that of teaching. No? Because in coaching, you are also teaching your coaches some sort of strategies. So hindi lang yung mga technical rules ang kailangan nilang malaman, kundi pati yung mga skills, no, yung mga competencies na um, which they could use, no, on field or off field. Okay, so the physical activities, no, say for instance, the sports and the exercise are considered the subjects, and the learning environment are the exact places or venues where the sports or the physical activity is held. No? This serve as their classroom. No? And so, for one to be effective in coaching, one has to understand how coaches learn. And it is in this context where they have to actually know about cognitive styles. Okay? So, siguro one question that you would ask yourselves would be, what are cognitive styles? Okay? To some literatures, may mga references na nagsasabi na ang cognitive styles ay cognitive skills din or cognitive abilities. No? So ito ay mga synonymous terms, no? May mga pag nag-search kayo sa internet, may mga nagsasabi na cognitive styles, pero I'm sure, no, pagdating sa parlance o sa terminology ng sports psychology, some reference would say cognitive skills or abilities. Okay? Now, for us to grasp the concept of cognitive styles, cognitive skills, or abilities, we have to first understand what cognition is. And I'm sure this is not the first time you'll be hearing this term, cognition. No? Because you have had a lot of prof ed subjects already. No? So, sa child and adult ninyo, kung naalala ninyo, no, kasama dun sa domains ng development, yung cognitive development. Could you still recall that? Okay. So, I'm sure when that domain was explained to you, you somehow had came across with the concept of cognition. So, ang cognition ay isang terminolohiya, no? It says here, it refers to mental operations. So, in any activity that to which you made use of your brain. No? So ano-anong mga activities ba, ano-anong mga task ba ang hindi pinroseso ng brain? Actually, practically lahat ng mga ginagawa natin, activities natin, kahit physical activity man yan, kahit intellectual activity man yan, or kahit pa siguro emotional activity man yan. Kasi even emotions are processed by the brain. Okay? But there are specific cognitive tasks, no? There are those tasks which we only perhaps connect with cognition. Okay, and what are these? No, these includes processes such as perception. No, do you know what perception is? Perception is giving meaning or giving sense or giving meaning to what you have sensed. No? So in short, interpreting whatever it is that you see, that you read, that you hear, that you feel. No? And you see, perceptual processes, no, our perception is unique. No? Why? We differ in terms of how we perceive things. No? So like say for example, I may be explaining here, I'm guiding you to how you should interpret the text as contained in this PowerPoint, no? But there will still be at some points there will still be differences as to how we accept information or say for example the things that I'm explaining here, how you would interpret, how you would accept these things that I'm explaining would be different would this would be one point to which we differ from one another, no? Bakit? Kasi magkakaiba tayo ng pinanggagalingan, magkakaiba tayo ng background in terms of what knowledge we already know, no? Magkakaiba din tayo ng emotional state. No? Maaring habang pinapanood ninyo ito, meron sa inyo yung highly motivated, meron naman yung moderately motivated lang, meron naman yung hindi motivated. So kahit siguro anong klaseng explanation or substantiation, hindi talaga papasok sa kanila yung information. Bakit? Kasi as to emotional state, no, there may be deterrence. May mga naghahamper. Okay? So, magkakaiba din tayo ng experiences. Di ba? All the more that we get interested to things to which we already have experience or to which is similar to our experiences. No? So, problem solving din. No? So, magkakaiba din tayo ng techniques. No? We also, while we may have same preoccupation, like same problem, for example, no? But how we solve it would again be something that we differ from one another. Okay? Memory recall. Dito ba magkakapareho kayo? Di ba meron sa inyo yung madali lang mag-memorize, madali lang mag-recall, madali lang actually para sa kanila ang mga ganitong klase ng mental activities. No? But to some, they may find difficulties concentrating, focusing. So those are actually interrelated concepts to this concept that we are explaining on cognition. Decision making also. Okay? So those are interrelated processes. And one thing that is common to them is that they are cognitive processes. Okay, now specifically, what's cognitive style or cognitive skill? These refer to the different approaches that people characteristically use in undertaking cognitive tasks. No? And this actually would explain why we differ in terms of how we do cognitive tasks. No? So in terms of perception, problem solving, memory, recall, decision making, ano pa ba? Even in terms of our emotional states, goal setting, motivation, okay? Um, magkakaiba tayo kasi yun nga, we differ in terms of how we approach things, no? So, dun na lang sa attempt ninyo to understand the contents of this PowerPoint. No? Is it not that there is a there would be difference as to um, how you would ensure that you have understood the content of this PowerPoint, no? So meron sa inyo yung um, siguro babasahin lang tapos they try to think about how or interpret the text of the PowerPoint. Meron din sa inyo yung siguro magsa-substantiate, magre-research pa para mas lalong maintindihan nila yung konsepto. Okay? Now, cognitive styles are stable and relatively permanent dispositions that reflect a person's preferences for receiving, processing, and responding to external input. Okay? Kung naalala ninyo sa inyong facilitating learning, meron kayong na natakal doon na information processing theory. No? Information processing theory. How we input, or encode, no, that's the term, how we encode, how we process, how we save, and how we decode information. Okay? So, there is a pattern, no? Kumbaga parang consistent ito, no? Kaya nga parang like intelligence, intelligence also is a relatively stable concept, meaning to say, no amount of practice or learning or training could actually make an average or a below average IQ become genius, no? Kasi there can be improvement, but it would not be as significant as to um, the improvement, no? Parang kumbaga, meron mang maidadagdag na kaalaman, pero hindi siya kasing possible na biglang maging genius yung isang below average na tao in terms of IQ, no? So what I'm just trying to say in here is that there would be a pattern, a consistent or an stability, no? When it comes to our cognitive processing. Okay? So considered to be a personality trait, no? So this still is under unit 2, human characteristics. Okay? So and representing both nature and nurture effects. No? Like IQ, cognitive styles also, as cognitive processes are affected or influenced by both the environment and our genes, heredity, no? So cognitive styles are thought to influence our values, our attitudes, and even our social interactions. No? Basically, because these are, whatever we do, in terms of how we prioritize. Kasi pag values, di ba yun, yung priority setting yun. Kailangan ba natin yun pag nagdesisyon? Natural. No? So halimbawa kapag ikaw ay isang atleta, your sport is basketball. Whether or not to pass the ball or to dribble the ball is something that requires priority setting, no? At the moment, no? Yung konteksto habang ako'y naglalaro, meron ba akong mga ka-teammate na nasa malapit na pwede kong pagpasahan? Kasi kung hindi, I would just dribble the ball, run as fast as I can, and most probably I would decide whether to shoot or not, or to still pass the ball to any of my teammates, parang ganun. So values, priority setting, attitudes also, and even how we interact with the people around us, with our teammates if it's a team sports, or even towards our coaches. Okay? So there's also another definition by Witkin, cognitive style as a process variable representing techniques for moving toward a goal rather than competence in achieving goals. So it does not talk about um, uh, our competence towards the concretization of a goal that we have set, but it's more of a technique, no? So how are we able to achieve that goal, no? What's our strategy, no? What's our style, okay? Now, it says here that athletes must learn to pay attention. O yan, kaya nga kung naalala ninyo dun sa first part ng slide, ang sabi ko, this is in parallel with our discussion to the previous topic on attention and concentration. Okay? So whether it is what an opponent is doing, remembering and implementing team rules in a certain situation, or knowing how much time is left on the clock. So it depends upon the context. Ano ba ang hinihingi ng sitwasyon? Sa pagkakataong yan, kailangan quick ka sa pag-iisip. Kailangan quick ka on weighing what course of action should you do in order for you to, say for example, hit the goal. What's the goal ba, for example, in basketball? It's for you to dribble and shoot the ball and get a score. Okay? So, considering the context, ano nangyayari sa paligid? Ano bang sitwasyon? No? So, kailangan ba kung last 10 seconds or last 5 seconds, kailangan bang magtagal ka sa pagdidribble? Or ano ba ang goal mo to add up to the score? And that requires that you shoot the ball as fast as you can and as accurately as you can. Okay, sabi dyan, no? They must learn to process information and make quick decisions. Now, this does not, of course, talk about being impulsive decision maker. Kasi pag cognitive style or skill, kaya nga siya cognitive skill, it's more on what's your strategy in achieving the goal, no? So, you have to, while there is urgency on what course of action should you do, there should still be accuracy in terms of whether that course of action would lead to the achievement of the goal. Okay? Now, you might be asking, how important is cognitive style or skill in sports? So there are several reasons, and athletes actually could benefit if they are equipped with cognitive skills. Okay, so one of the importance would be they are able to process information quickly. Okay, so athletes must process information from the environment quickly. What's happening around? Ano bang nangyayari, no? So nakita mo yung board, yung ano bang tawag doon, kung saan dinidisplay yung oras. Last 5 seconds. Okay, meron ka pa bang magagawa sa 5 seconds? No, you weigh. You think as fast as you can as to how possible could you still get a score out of the remaining time. Okay, so it says there, athletes must process information from the environment quickly, including the movements of other players, the ball, for example, and the location of the goal. No? Cognitive skills, particularly attention and perception, enable athletes to process this information quickly and accurately. No? So dapat pala ito ang naunang topic natin bago yung attention and concentration, kasi this is the general concept, cognitive style. Okay? But nevertheless, it says here, one of the cognitive skills that we have to possess, or that athletes have to possess, would be attention and perception. So how attentive and how attentive they are, and how are they able to as quickly and as accurately interpret what's happening around them. Those are important cues, no, for them to at least do something, or to at least have a course of action, so that they're able to achieve or concretize the goal of the team. If that's a team sports. Okay. Next, make effective decisions under pressure. Di ba? Kapag tayo ay under pressure, parang ang hirap nating gumawa ng course of action, no? Or baliktad ba? Sa inyo ba pag na-pressure kayo, mas ginaganahan kayong ah, gumawa ng move? No? Halimbawa sa panliligaw, no? Pag binubuyo ba kayo, no? Ano ba yung binubuyo? Kapag tinitis, when you are being teased, no? Uh, are you more energized or activated to do something, to decide? No? So, when you're under pressure, kasi um, normally, the typical response is that when we are under pressure, we are uh, caught off-handed of what to do. No? Parang hindi natin alam kung ano ang gawin natin right at that very moment. But you see, if you have this pattern already, no, kung meron na kayong cognitive style at kung if you possess that skill actually, no, you're able to make a quick and effective decision, especially during competition. No? So when should you shoot the ball? When should you pass the ball? When should you dribble, for example? So yung context natin dito ay sa basketball. No? So these are um, uh, cognitive styles or cognitive skills are part of it would be decision-making skill. No? And I know that you would agree that decision-making is not only important in or during competitions, but even in our lives in general, no? So when you are under pressure, like say for example, you are taking a quiz or a test, your term test, for instance, you were not able to have a good review, no? So decision making to cheat, whether to cheat or not to cheat, no? So um, that is a decision. That is a decision or a choice that you have to make, no, which could actually have a what do you call this, an after effect or aftermath to your future, no? So how effective is that decision, no? So I don't know if this would form part of your concerns, no? But anyway, siguro you just have to reflect into what circumstances in your life um, have you ever experienced making a decision um, on the verge of a circumstance na which gives you pressure, parang ganon, which somewhat is stressful. Okay? So another importance is that anticipate the movements of opponents. In sports to, sports context. So cognitive skills such as perception and attention are crucial for an athlete to anticipate. No? Meron tayong tinatawag na anticipation skills. No? So ano kaya, meron kang parang foresight, kumbaga parang in your brain, in your mind pala, in your mind, parang there is already this envisioning. Para bang nag-i-imagine ka ano kaya ang next na move niya. So kung sakaling ito ang next na move niya, ano naman kaya magiging move ko? Anong magiging course of action ko? So para bang meron ka ng picture nung pwedeng mangyari at the back of your mind. Okay? So while in the competition, what are the things that I can anticipate? Okay? So what movements um, will the one holding the one holding the ball, will he dribble it or pass it to his opponent, to his teammate? If he would pass the ball to his teammate, what strategy shall I do to actually grab the ball? Parang ganon. So these anticipatory skills, anticipating skills, no, would enable the athlete to react more quickly and effectively. Okay? Another importance is that it helps maintain concentration and focus. Okay? So athletes must remain focused. I'm sure you have learned that in the previous topic on attention and concentration, how important are these cognitive styles or skills, no? particularly in making athletes engaged with whatever's happening during the competition, no? And yung grounding ba, no? On whether or not they are aware of what's happening, and should they be really concentrating or focused on the game, then how would this be of help to them to achieve their goals of winning? Okay. Another is learn and adapt to new situations and challenges. So cognition also enables athletes to learn and adapt to new situations and challenges. For instance, an athlete can learn from past mistakes and use this knowledge to improve their performance in the future. No? Kasi not all of our competitions are successful ones. So there will be instances to which we also lose. Okay. Now, what are the learning experiences that we have when we fail, for instance, in a competition? Um, do we make use of these learning experiences as guide, no, or as inspiration so that we can be better and we can do better the next time? Okay? So I'm sure lahat naman tayo ganun, no? So in our lives, as a student, as a coachee, as a learner, there had been instances of failing. And you see, that's life. We always have a share of the failure and the losses and all, no, kahit nga sa love, di ba? We have a share of the heartbreaks. Okay? And I think that is what makes us, keep going, di ba? Um, while to some perhaps this sounds devastating, but to others this may be a turning point for success, no? So we actually learn to adapt because that is part of what we are able to do as human beings, no? We always would adapt. Okay, so lilipas din yan, sabi nga nila. Kailangan lang pagdaanan mo yan para mas maging mabuti at mahusay ka pang tao. Okay? Now, the question as to how cognition affects athletic performance. Okay? So, there are uh, concepts which I think are um, familiar to us already. Okay? Some of these we have encountered in our previous discussions, no? But we try to look into how relevant these concepts are to athletic performance. Okay? So attention. Attention is a cognitive skill that enables an athlete, for example, to focus on what information to attend to and what to ignore. Okay? So, hindi natin, kung ikaw ay naglalaro, kailangang naka-mindset ka na, okay, so this is my strategy. This is what I should do. I have to engage myself, not only my physical self, but even my mental self. No? Kasi gano'n naman talaga, di ba? Any sport activity is not only a physical activity, no? We have to immerse our whole being with the activity so that we could actually get what we want. That is, we could be able to achieve our goal. Okay, so if one is attentive, no? Kung naalala ninyo yung sinasabi natin na selective attention, okay, divided attention, okay? So, dapat ay alam natin kung paano natin salain ang mga stimuli. No? Ano bang stimuli, ano bang stimulus sa paligid ang dapat ko lang pagtuunan ng pansin at ang dapat kong i-focus, doon ako dapat mag-respond, no? At anong mga stimuli ang kailangan kong i-ignore. Okay? So, um, there are this require concentration. Okay? So first you have to attend to the stimuli. You decide on which to ignore and which to focus onto, and then you decide to give your 101% concentration on that stimulus. Okay? So athletes with excellent attention skills are better equipped to focus on the game and ignore distractions such as those that come from the environment. Okay, perception is the cognitive skill that allows athletes to interpret and make sense of sensory information such as the movement of the ball or the location of the opponent. No? So ang perception ay premised sa sensation. Okay? So what our eyes see, what our ears hear, and all the rest of the senses, no, what is received by the senses is processed by the brain and is interpreted by the brain and comes out as a reaction or as a behavior. No? So when you, for example, hear what I say here, no, during this video lecture, you try to decipher what I mean. And in doing so, you try to understand and interpret. No? And when you are able to do that, no, you come to have a comprehensive information about the topic that I'm discussing. And it is there where you actually could say that, yun palang ibig sabihin nun. No? So pag nangyari yon, there is perception. There is perception. So in learning, like every day you attend to your class, be it a face-to-face or a virtual class, no, you hear your teachers discuss or you even hear yourself whenever you are asked by your teacher to recite, no, and when you do so, you try to what do you call this, think about how you understood or interpret things, right? Okay, so when you do that, uh, there is not only sensation but also perception. Okay? Next, memory. Oh, this is a cognitive skill that enables athletes to store and retrieve information quickly and accurately. No? Lalo na sa mga procedural knowledge o hindi lang sa procedural knowledge, no? Lahat actually ng types of knowledge, no? Ginagamit natin ang ating memory sa mga conceptual knowledge, no, like concepts that you know, meanings of words, history, those that you learn in science, the processes, for example, no, and in procedural knowledge, no, like say for example, when you execute a dance move, o, di ba merong counting yon? O? So what's the first step? What's the second? What's the third? What's the last step? Ganon din sa sports, di ba? Okay, so what should we do in order for us to be able to get a score, for example, no? So in basketball, magkakaiba. Magkakaiba depende sa sports o sa field na kung saan tayo involved. Okay? But irrespective of whatever field of sports, no, we all make use of memory. Kahit nga physical, ano, di ba? Limbawa, athletics, no? O running event, no? Ginagamitan pa rin ba ng memory yan? Natural, no? Uh, ano ba yun? Meron akong napanood, I could hardly recall the title, but I will share it to you as soon as I recall. Siguro I'll just chat it in your GC, no? Kahit anong, ang point ko lang dyan is kahit anong larangan, kahit nasa sports ka man o nasa academics ka, at sa sociocultural, no? Ay ginagamitan natural natin ng memory. Okay? So, when we have excellent memory skills, we can remember game strategies, we make even the mistakes that we make, no? We learn from them. Okay? And these are turning points for us to improve ourselves, to improve our performance. Decision making. Okay. Do you consider this as an important cognitive skill? Okay. When you decide, how do you decide? Do you also think about what options are there. What could be the probable consequences if I would take this option A, option B? No? Kasi na kumamit no, agpili ka, ag-decide ka no, sino ti song batam no, at ti sutor mo niya. Okay? So you try to weigh, you come up with the pros and the cons. No? So that is how we decide. And athletes are required to make quick decisions. Kapag nandun ka na sa game, hindi ka pwedeng laging tawagin ng coach at yung coach ang magsasabi sa no, ganito ang strategy nyo. Pag ganito ang nangyari, ganito dapat ang desisyon nyo, hindi pwede. Kayo mismo ang gagawa ng desisyon kasi urgent nga. Okay? Based on facts, based on what's happening around, what should I do? Is there something that I should do quickly? Or what's that? How should I do it? Those would be critical actually in your performance. Okay? We also have problem solving skills. Okay? So natural, no? When you are in a competition, there will be issues that would pop up, concerns that you have to address immediately. Situations which you may not expect. Kasi kung ano ba yung mga situations na hindi nyo pwedeng i-expect, no? Like, the decision of the umpire. So, for example, in volleyball, no? Ini-expect nyo na counted siya, pero sabi ng umpire, no, it's the opposite, no? So this could be some sort of situation, circumstances, which you may not expect. And so how should you react in response? No? So there should be strategy, sabi dyan, no? Game strategy. Okay? So whenever there is injury, for example, syempre unexpected din yan. So what should you do? No? So those are some concrete scenarios which needed problem solving. Okay? And athletes, no? Problem solving is not the domain of coaches. No? Athletes themselves should be taught of how to actually make effective or come up with effective strategies to solve their concerns, especially during competition. Okay. Now, there is a there are literatures actually, which related cognitive styles with learning styles. Kaya nga siguro yung first na slide, kung naalala niyo, coaching is just like teaching, no? So, kasi coaches also teaches coaches. Coaches would teach coaches not only the technical rules but also the strategy, no, on how are we able, for example, to achieve our goals, no? So there had been literatures which would use learning styles as concept instead of cognitive styles, no? So I'm sure learning styles is not new to you, no? So you might have came across this concept in your facilitating learning. Okay, so there are several theories, no, which would actually share about learning styles, no. But anyway, learning styles are cognitive, affective, and physical traits that are relatively stable indicators of how learners perceive, interact with, and respond to the learning environment. Okay? So it's not only about how we encode information or how we acquire information or knowledge, no? But it is as comprehensive as this. It does not only talk about cognition, it also talks about affective, no, or emotional states. Kasi sa learning style, kasama pa rin ang motivation doon. Okay? So, it means a general predisposition toward processing information in a particular way. Okay? And there are several theories. So we will look into the theories later on. Ito, yung theoretical explanations as to why we vary when it comes to our learning styles. Okay. So ito, pagdating sa learning styles, di ba usually ang alam natin is yung merong visual, may auditory, may kinesthetic, may auditory learners. Alam ko hindi bago ito sa inyo. So kahit hindi natin yan i-explain individually, I'm sure you could relate. So cognitive styles have been linked to learning preferences. More specifically, people tend to prefer some learning modalities such as visual, auditory. Okay, so like cognitive styles, our learning styles, although perhaps we may not be so conscious of it, but our learning styles is also somewhat stable or somewhat consistent. Napansin ninyo, ano ba yung, di ba, have you ever explored a particular strategy that you make use in learning, no? And is it not that when you find this strategy effective, you would adapt and embrace this strategy as your learning strategy, no? So yun lang yung point niya dyan. Okay, now there's what we call variability. We differ when it comes to cognitive style, no? And there are four theories that would explain that. So first, we have the hemispheric lateralization. Okay? So base sa kung paano naihulma ang ating mga utak. Oh, physical ito physiological, no? So, meron tayong tinatawag na right hemisphered and left hemisphered. Right-brained and left-brained. Okay? So, ano ba yon? Ano ba yung alala ninyo doon sa inyong UTS ba yan o child and ado or general psychology, no? Ang function ng brain natin, ang brain natin meron tayong right hemisphere ng brain. There are two hemispheres, right and the left. Contralateral yung functioning nila. Anong ibig mo sabihin sa contralateral, ma'am? Yung right hemisphere, it functions for it functions predominantly for yan, holistic pictorial functioning, no? Right hemisphere, no? And apart from that, it also would control all the activities of the left part of the body. Okay? So may chances na kapag right hemisphere, left-handed yung tao, no? Okay. Ngayon, kasi lahat ng activities ng left side of the body is controlled by the right hemisphere and vice versa. Lahat ng activities ng right side of the body is controlled by the left hemisphere. And apart from that, left hemisphere is also for logico-mathematical or analytical tasks. Okay? So yan, tingnan nyo na lang specifically kung ano-ano ang mga characteristics or tasks na may potential depending on what hemisphere of the brain is more active. Okay? So, sabi nila kapag right-handed ka, left hemisphere. Kapag left-handed, right hemisphere. No? So, although there are siguro objective ways of determining whether you are right hemisphere or left hemisphere. Okay, but I just wanted you to also remember concepts like we have this what we call orthogonal dimensions, no? So this would mean that there are two cognitive styles relative to the hemispheres of our brain. So we have what we call holistic analytic dimension, which refers to how individuals gather and store structured information. Holist retain a gestalt global conceptualization of information, whereas analytics deconstruct information into its subcomponents. No? Kung paano mag-isip ang isang holistic na tao. So, very general, holistic nga eh, no? So, on the other hand, kapag naman analytics, no, we break down information into parts, no? While kung holist ka, no, holistic yung pag-unawa mo doon sa information. Okay? Then we also have what we call verbal imagery dimension. Okay? This refers to how individuals decode structured information. So verbalizers, from the word verbal, they are able to decode information by using words. Okay? While visualizers, more on pictures. Okay? So kumbaga parang linguist yung isa naman ay verbal yung isa, non-verbal naman yung isa. Okay? Then, we also have what we call this is another theory, theoretical explanation. Another theoretical explanation has to do with perception and information processing. And in here, there are 4 methods or 4 cognitive styles. We have the activists, the theorists, the pragmatists, and the reflectors. Okay? May mga merong exam ito, guys. No, I could share you the link so that you could test on where are you in terms of these styles, no? So I will share it to your GC, the link for the exam, no? This is based on Honey and Bamford learning styles, okay? So we try to look into the 4 cognitive styles, no? So we have the activists, no? They are likely to learn best when exposed to new experiences, no? So from the word itself, as much as possible, they try to do something. No? So even if they commit mistakes in the long run, it's just okay for them because that is their way of learning things. Okay? So they do. Ito nga, active. They actually are more inclined of actions. Okay? So, and doing things, I mean, the actual doing of things is their very way of getting immediate feedback. Okay? So, they learn, okay, so may example dito. You learn to tie your shoelaces by having a go with a coach on standby. So, para bang, if for example, you are an athlete, you more likely would appreciate if there is an actual demonstration of the task, no? Like say for example in basketball, no? Hindi kung activist ka, mas ma-appreciate mo kung merong actual playing of basketball where you are to dribble, where you are to pass it to your teammate, and where you are made to shoot the ball. Okay? So that would be more of an activist cognitive style. Another is theorists. They generate hypotheses and then engage in analytical thinking and deductive reasoning. Theorists would be more on conceptual. So para bang imagining things. Okay, o sige, this is what happens in a basketball match, for example. So the teacher most probably would just try to explain the concept and the person imagines, no? Theories nga. You learn to tie your shoelaces by reading the instruction manual. Imagine nyo yun. By just simply deducing information from the written source, you are able to imagine and understand. O, di ba? Parang ang saya-saya naman kung theorist tayong lahat, no? Bakit? Pag binigay sa'yo yung reading material, naintindihan mo na kahit di mo pa ginawa. Ganun ba yon? Okay. Another is reflector. They excel when working on observational reports and analysis, no? So from the word itself, reflector, they learn from watching or observing others do the task. Okay? So, yung balik tayo dun sa shoelace, you learn to tie your shoelaces by watching a YouTube tutorial. O, di ba? Marami sa atin ang naging plantito-plantita, naging baker. Nung pandemic, kasi ito yung mode of learning natin, no? Reflector, no? We tend to actually just watch um, video demonstrations and then we repeat, we, we, we copy the procedure and then we do it by ourselves. Pragmatist, prefer simulations or of real scenarios, no? So you learn to tie your shoelaces by attending a shoelace tying workshop. So merong actual activists and pragmatists go together, no? They want actual doing of the task. Okay? So that's based on Honey and Mumford. Now um another theory is the problem solving approaches. Okay? So in here there are two tendencies, no? One being adaptive and one being convergent. Okay? So adapters utilize existing paradigms to generate solutions for a given problem. Okay? So ano to opposite. If you are an adapter, kung ano na yung nakasanayan mong paraan para isolve ang isang problema, kasi siguro by experience, no? Napatunayan mo ng effective siya. Kaya yun yung paulit-ulit mong ginagawa, no? Pero kung innovator ka, you try new ways of doing things. No? I-try ko nga kung ito, no? And then pag nag-succeed siguro, then well, it forms part of your of the reservoir that you have in terms of what strategies should you do to solve the problem. So another is convergent. Convergent generate a singular and accurate response to a given problem, whereas divergent, multiple responses. So pag convergent, kumbaga parang kapag may problema, ito lang, ito yung sa tingin ko na pinaka-best na solusyon. Okay? Pero kapag divergent, maraming options yan. Okay? So pag nag-fail ang option A, for example, meron ba akong option B? Okay? O sino sa inyo ang ganun? Okay? Now, ito, we also have learning style by Kolb. I don't know if you came across the instrument. Meron ding learning style questionnaire na pinopose si Kolb, no? And it is in here where you try to determine which of you in terms of the styles, no? Whether you are accommodating, diverging, converging, or simulating. Okay? Now, there's also what we call, maliban dun sa dalawa ba? Yeah, maliban dito sa mga na-propose ng, depende kasi kung sino yung proponent, ni Mumford, ni Kolb, no? Meron din tayong tinatawag na tri-dimensional approach, no? So, in here, emotional or relational, mental or physical dimensions, no, would also attribute to the variability or to the differences that we have in information processing. Okay, so relational or emotional refers to knowledge primarily gained through social interactions and verbal and nonverbal communication. Okay, so may mga pagkakataon that we also adapt the from the as a result actually of the interactions that we have with our friends or with our classmates or even with our teammates. So para bang we learn also from the experiences of others. Okay? So may mga ganun ba sa inyo yung as to, for example, how your friends solve their problems, the approaches that they make use in solving their problems. When you are also put into the same situation, do you also tend to adapt? No? So this would refer to relational or emotional dimension. Another would be mental dimension. So information acquired via deliberate thinking, abstract conceptualization, objectification, and reflection. So this would now depend on our individual circumstances or personal approaches when it comes to problem solving. And physical dimension. So, ayan. Then, okay, we also have what we call field dependence or independence. Another theoretical explanation by Herman Witkin. Okay, so it says here that field, I'm sure this is not new to you, means context or surroundings. Some people are more and some less influenced by the context when performing a skill or learning. Is it not that when you are in a competition, there can be several factors that affect your performance, and one of which would be the very situation you are into. So yung environment, yung venue kung saan kayo nakiki-compete, no? Meron tayong tinatawag na audience effect, no? Um, the the people, the spectators, no, that are around us, no, could in one way or the other influence, no, how attentive we are, how focused we are, um, even factors like distractions, no, the context actually could be very influential, or could actually affect us. Okay? We have what we call field dependence cognitive style. So, ito yung those who rely more on external reference or on environmental cues than on internal reference. No? So, they could easily be distracted, or it could also be the other way around. No, they could easily be motivated by factors like audience. No, so when audience would cheer for them, no, kaya nga siguro na ano nyo ba yung naiisip nyo ba na bakit kaya kapag may mga kompetisyon, bakit kaya parang um, may mga bit-bit na audience. Maliban siguro dun sa fact na, kasi kasama sa criteria ma'am yung audience impact. No? Pero is it not that we are also motivated when we are being praised, or perhaps when we hear the cheers of the audience? No? So that could be possible impact or implication, but it could also be a source of the motivation, especially if the audience we hear the boo of the audience. No? So pwedeng it could distract us, or it could also demotivate us. So it would depend on how we would perceive the response or the reaction of the audience. Okay? So yung field independence, tawag dyan, this is an opposite of the first concept that I explained. Now, according to the cognitive control theory, field-dependent individuals rely on external cues and tend to generate a macro-global view of a given context. Conversely, field-independent individuals rely on internal cues and focus on identifying detailed information of a given context. Okay? So, meron yung tinatawag na intrinsically motivated. No? Intrinsically, those are the field-independent individuals. Kumbaga, mas motivated sila within, no? They exclude external factors. Yung field-dependent naman ay extrinsically motivated. Okay? Now, there are several training techniques which can be used by athletes relative to cognitive skill or cognitive styles. No? So, some would include cognitive training. No? So, what happens there? It's more of how should we direct our attention, our focus, no? And how we refine our perceptions, and perhaps how we would work on our memory. So sabi dyan, Cognitive training can improve cognitive skills such as attention, perception, and memory. Kung naalala niyo dun sa attention and concentration na topic natin, we have actually substantiated our discussion on what techniques could be used, no, both by coaches and athletes um, to ensure that there would be focus, or there would be attention on the part of the athletes. Okay. Then we also have neurofeedback is a technique that involves training the brain to regulate its own activity. No, sabi nga nila, we can be the self, ang pinaka malala nating kalaban ay ang ating mga sarili, no? So it would be how are we able to condition ourselves, our minds especially, in a way that we are really thinking of what's best, what moves, no, or strategies that could best make us achieve our goals. Okay? So, cognitive behavioral therapy, yung CBT na sinasabi natin, lalong-lalo na kapag we are overwhelmed with negative thoughts. Oh? Like, say for example, last 10 seconds, sabi nung dun sa time na kita mo, tapos nasa kalaban ang bola, no? So, out of frustration, especially if lamang sila ng score, no? You could hardly think of what move should you do in order to grab the ball and to actually still do something so that you could shoot it and still have a score, no? So kung minsan nauunahan tayo na wala na, last 10 seconds natalo na kami, no? Meron kayong negative thoughts, no? So kung minsan nagsi-self-talk pa kayo, and you try to ask yourselves, what's the content of the self-talk, no? Positive ba o negative? Because you see, if we are in a very stressful situation and your thought would be overwhelmed with negativities, all the more that you tend to get anxious, and it will not in any way help you. Okay? So, we have what we call mental imagery. No? You try to imagine, I don't know, I will share you a video na basketball game yun. Yung alam niyo yun, the coach pulled out the player, tapos while naibangko siya, di ba yun yung term natin? Naibangko na, kasi mali nga naggayam ta, naibangko, gina niya. So, the player while sitting is actually doing a mental imagery. No? So parang sikat na basketball player yun eh. I'm not just so I could hardly remember the name, no? But I will share you the video. Kasi while he is seated, he was actually doing a mental imagery, no? So ano ba yung mental imagery, ma'am? Like you just sit down there, you just ground yourself on what's happening, and then you try to imagine, no? Like after this, pagkatapos ko maibang ko, pag ako pinapasok ulit sa game at ako'y naglaro, how would I play? No? Parang envisioning, visualizing, no? Visualizing. No? What move shall you do? No? Kumbaga parang it gives you a foresight of what you will be doing in case you will be playing again, parang ganun. Okay? And then another is self-talk, no? I will be sending you videos also doon sa mental imagery as to how you will do it. Okay? Self-talk. O, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, no, na at times, di ba, siguro we tend to also verbalize inside the court, no? Like when you are frustrated, do you do trash talking? Esti, may mga ganun ba kayong mga ano, no? May mga may mga expressions, no? But you see, apart from what we verbalize, no, what also are in our minds, those that we don't verbalize, no? You try to assess on whether the contents of your self-talks are positive or negative. Okay? So it says here, um, you uh, it's a unique cognitive strategy that can be defined as performing an act of recognizable communication. You communicate to yourself. Kaya nga siya self-talk, no? So, may mga pagkakataon ba na minumura niyo yung mga sarili niyo, ay naku, walang hiya ka, wala ka kasing silbi, wala kang nagawang tama, may mga ganun ba? No? And when you do that, no, do you think that helps you become more healthy athlete, no? Or even as a coach, no? So sabi diyan, we may articulate it loud or we might actually just think of it, no? Mental voice inside our head, no? And it that is addressed to the self with interpretive elements associated to its content. So at times it depends upon the situation we are into. But well, irrespective of what situation we are into, when we are overwhelmed with negative self-talks, no, it will definitely not help us. So how do we train ourselves that when we uh, have negativities in our minds, how do we convert it in positive vibrations? So doon papasok yung cognitive behavioral therapy, no? Yung CBT nandun sa previous slide. Kasi ang concept dyan, guys, ay well, um, uh, what we think, what we think about have implications on our behavior, no? What we think about have implications on what we do. And you see at times, consciously or unconsciously, our actions are dependent on our thoughts. Okay? So kusang lumalabas yan. Consciously or unconsciously. So kung positibo ang mga nasa loob, positibo din yung lumalabas. Although there's what we call camouflaging, but still, no, there would be high tendencies that if what's inside are negativities, no, at times, no, it's also what comes out. Okay? So how do we train ourselves that when we do self-talks, it would be more of the healthy self-talks. Okay? So it would be more of what could help you become an effective coach or an effective athlete. Okay? So yan. And then mindfulness and meditation. So siguro later on during the face-to-face class, we try to um, look into how do we do this. Okay? What else? So I think that's it. The last slide. Okay, so ito pala yung mga videos. Ito yung link ng mga videos na pwede ninyong i-access para mas lalo ninyong maintindihan yung mga konseptong na-discuss natin. Okay? So that's all. Have a nice day. See you later on. Thank you.